Hello, how you guys doing? Good evening, good day, good afternoon, wherever you watch this video from. Well, saw something recently, and you know a lot of stuff been going on with politics, and I just saw this video, and I'm gonna put it with a couple videos, and people are starting to show their true colors when it comes to other people being in relationships, in there's people with their spouses in groups. And what I'm about to point out to you, shout out to Lucas here, that there are some people that even though the other nationalities want to think that they're at a different class and by complexion, well, because of their education and things, well, let's see what
What
Lucas
if
got
I
to say
told you
about
that
this.
you could get booked and paid to speak? What if I told you that there...
Bruh. Oh my goodness. So, I don't know if you guys have heard, I'm sure you have, right? JD Vance is now the VP and everything. Now, what I don't know if you've heard is that there has been some severe backlash. And what I mean by backlash, I mean a white backlash. That's what I mean. I mean racist, white nationalists, racists are going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. They are losing their mind. Now, I pondered why that was. Was it perhaps because, of what J.D. Vance said about Trump, calling him Hitler, saying all these mean and evil things about him, talking about the racism of the party? No, none of that. Well, I thought maybe perhaps it's a policy that J.D. Vance is promoting and supporting, and that, they don't want it to come to and affect the Republican Party, or it's not, it's opposite, contrast to what the Republican values are. No, it wasn't anything of that. Then I was like, okay, maybe it's something he did. Maybe it was, the whole, the corruption about his opioid charity program, the funds that he misappropriated and things like that. And nope, it wasn't that. So I'm left scratching my head, I wonder what white people, what many of these racists could be upset about. What are they upset about when it comes to this milk toast, butter biscuit looking Care Bear individual? And you won't believe it. These mofos of the Republican Party, I want you to understand, this is the core of the Republican Party. These mofos are upset because his wife is Indian. Bro, you can't make this up. Bro, they're upset that his wife is Indian, fam. Listen to me. They're upset that his wife is Indian. Now, I gotta be honest with you, this doesn't come as a shock, given as far as what Ann Coulter said to Vivek when Vivek stepped out. They're talking about, hey, you can go back to the Quickie Mart, the 7-Eleven. So, I mean, this doesn't surprise me, as why we have, Nikki Haley change her name to Nikki Haley. Why? Because she knows that the country is racist. That's what
You've made it this far on self-trivia. Here we go. True or false? You can build credit with your rent payment.
Nikki Haley change her name to Nikki Haley. Why? Because she knows that the country is racist. That's what she knows. So when you have, a Tim Scott and the rest of them come out and say, this is not a racist country. When you have Kamala Harris come out and say, this is not a racist country. Well, you can say that, but your actions seem to make me believe that you believe differently. We'll say that, right? So they're upset that his wife is Indian. You're having posts, people talking about, what is he going to do for immigration? I'm sure he's going to be really good on immigration. Bruh, you are having them be upset. You had, what's his name? Nick Fuentes, that's his name, right? He's talking about, what does this benefit white people? There is a white genocide going on, and his wife is Indian, and his kids, one of his kids is named Vivek.
J.D. Vance also has a non-white wife, an Indian wife, and a kid named Vivek. All his kids have Indian names. So it's like, what exactly are we getting here? And that's not a dig at him just because I'm a racist or something. But it's like, who is this guy really? Do we really expect that the guy who has an Indian wife and named their kid Vivek is going to support white identity? Like, there's a white genocide going on in the world. White people are being systematically replaced in America and Europe through immigration and to a much lesser extent due to intermarrying.
They're having a meltdown. They're losing it. They have lost their God-given brains. That is what's going on. You're having all these white nationalists, all these racists on Twitter, and Twitter is nothing more than a safe haven for these racists, thanks to the racist, King Racist himself, the ignoramus, Elon Musk. They're all coming out, they're saying, oh, he's not one of us. And I want you to understand, this is beautiful, okay? They're eating their own. This is absolutely genius, because you have to understand what Lyndon Johnson was talking about. If you can make the poor whites feel that they're superior due to the color of their skin from the Negro, then, you can go in their pockets anytime you want. And that is precisely what has happened. You have the PWTs of the Republican Party that all they have is the color of their skin. Damn! That has got to be a miserable existence. Your claim to fame is simply the color of your skin? Is the fact that, hey, I'm white, that is it? Bruh, are you serious right now? That is pitiful. Because they're uneducated, they're low IQ, they're lower class, right? They're poor. And I'm like, all these people have is their whiteness. That's it. That's all they have. And if you look at the history of this country, you see why that's been trying to be promoted. You see why, no matter what you do, who you are, where you come from, that is peak. That is the pinnacle of their existence. That is what they have tried to make everyone else think. Oh, this is the standard. Anything they say goes. And as time goes on, that's slowly starting to deteriorate. It's starting to crumble right in front of their eyes. Because you have to understand, their whole power is infiltrating your mind. That is it. So when they can't infiltrate your mind to abide by their customs, by their traditions, by their beliefs, by their standards, quote unquote, then everything shatters. Everything falls apart. Because it's all based off of, as far as group effort. The group has to believe in this, in the white supremacy or white inferiority. They have to believe in that. If they don't believe in that, then it disappears. It goes bye-bye. That's how it works. The more people, I guess, get desensitized from this foo-foo-fee-fee belief, right? Because that's what it is. It's just in the air. There's no substance. There's no root, right? There's nothing tangible. These are all just beliefs and ideologies. So once you break that and you see these people for the miserable sobs that they are, most of them either homosexuals, such as Nick Fuentes, or Stu's, whatever his name is, a lot of them either are childless, right? They're miserable people, they're physically inferior, mentally inadequate, and the only thing that they have to grasp onto that makes their life worth living is that they're white. That's it. That is it. And you have to understand that they're understanding that they are a minority on the planet. The minority on the planet. That immigration will inevitably wipe them out. Immigration will inevitably wipe them out. And what I mean by wipe them out, I mean as far as out of existence. As far as their hold over the country. As far as whatever their standard is, whatever their metrics is, whatever is promoted and what is shunned, that goes out the window, and they're losing that. They're losing their minds because now, the whole white and I'm say so isn't going to go very far. It's not going to go very far. So in many of their racist minds, that's all they have is that, hey, I'm white and this is what I say to do. So when people around you either A, don't look like you, or B, don't heed to your beliefs or your mentality, then you are alone. And that's what they fear. They fear being alone. What they really fear is being treated how they have treated other groups of people. Okay, that's what these racists fear, that the same thing that they have done to other people, how they've accosted certain groups of people, that the same group of people accost them. Now, when it comes to black people, I don't know why they use us as a boogeyman, because we haven't done anything. We're honestly in America loyal pets at this point. Okay? If we're going to be honest, we're loyal pets. You should be worried about the Asians. You should be worried about the Hispanics, Latinos. You should be worried about them over black people. But they love making us the boogeyman because, you know, they just have a hard-on for black Americans, you know, just historically and presently. So I just find that very...
What if I could make $100 per basket shooting from here? Or you could make $20 per basket.
Who enabled people to do this shit to black people?
That's another rabbit hole. If we want to go down that path.
Like, who gave white man confidence to, like, do that shit? Mom, I'm just talking. I know. Apparently, my mom is just saying do not make videos on politics because Mom, I'm just raising awareness. Apparently, my mom wants to know why am I telling everybody this? नहीं sorry. Okay, bye.
Yeah, she's gone. Yeah, mom did not really want her on here, which I can understand, of course. But, you know, she said her piece. Yeah, if she's okay, I hope so. I think she said that's her mom. So, okay. 113 is back.
Hey, what's up?
Let's see her right now again. Hi.
Hey. Apparently, my mom doesn't want me to talk about politics because it's like a very touchy subject, you know. So I protected my anonymity online because I'm not black, so people will see me as a whistleblower. They'll see me as a snitch, snitching on my own kind. And this is a global conspiracy, like the war in Sudan, Kenya. What do they all have in what do they all have in common? Like, what do they all have in common? Like, outside forces.
Where are you from, please?
I'm from USA.
Like, what's your ethnicity?
Indian.
Okay.
So apparently, the US does influence world politics.
Are you sure? Are you sure you don't want to respect your mom's opinion?
Okay. It's a YouTuber. Yeah. A YouTuber. A political commentator.
No, you can't do that.
Okay, fine.
You don't need to do that.
Okay, I wouldn't. Okay, bye.
That was I mean, she so desperately wanted to talk, but her mom doesn't want that. So 113 is back, guys, and I'm just going to add her one last time and see if, you know, she'll be able to talk. And after her, I'm going to be ending the live. So let's see.
Hey,
Hi.
Hey. Apparently, I've been noticing over the years that there's black people that will do anything to impress non-blacks. Like, I've seen it with my own two eyes. Like, you know how they call people sir, out of respect?
First of all, 113, you said you're Indian.
Yeah, I'm Indian.
Okay, do you follow me on here?
Yes, I do. Very closely, because I need to know everything, because the safety and security of black people is tied to the safety and security of everyone else. Because if black people ain't safe, no one is safe. That's a fact.
Okay. So would you say you consider yourself like an ally or something?
I'm not an ally, I'm not an enemy, I'm just doing what I gotta do to spread the truth. The truth is, black people gave life to non-blacks and they have every right to take it back. That's a fact. Like, there's no debating that. I mean, for me, what comes first is humanity. And without blackness, there is no humanity. Because blackness is next to godliness, and I support the truth. I support right over wrong. I don't take sides unless it's right over wrong. I support right over wrong.
Okay, so seems like there's really a lot you want to share with us, and you were very persistent. So
apparently, my mom doesn't want me to speak on the issues because they're very serious, and people don't like to get exposed on this type of stuff.
okay,
Sometimes
first of all, how do people know what issues we're speaking about on here first?
the Kenyan issue, like the taxes and everything, imperialism, colonialism. Apparently, this is a symptom of a worldwide disease created by white supremacy. And white supremacists do not come in one color, they come in many colors. Like, there's many people that practice the ideology that are not even white.
Okay.
Apparently, it's internalized hatred, like the white people divide and conquer. Apparently there's no saving the world, it's just save yourself. I'm in it for myself. Like, I'm not here to save black people, I'm here to save myself from God's wrath. Like, I'm just trying to do the right thing by raising awareness to what's happening. There's a conspiracy to replace the original people of planet Earth, and that's not going to happen on my watch, because I will raise awareness and I will expose the people that hold such views in my community.
Okay, so are you saying you hold people in your community accountable when you come by them doing?
Yeah, I'll hold my community accountable, and I hope the other non-black communities hold their kind accountable. Like, I'm handling things on my end. Just make sure that you beat out the traitors on your end. Just like, it's like, yeah, I hold it accountable, but there's traitors, is like insiders that are helping the outsiders do what they're doing to black people, and that's just wrong. Wrong is wrong, no matter who it's happening to.
I agree.
And apparently, it's just, I can't live while people are, like, think about the Israel-Palestine conflict. Who started it? The U.S., and they wanted the resources. It's all about money and resources, first of all. And the funny part is, people say that they don't like black people, but the funny part is they originate from black people, and they wish to look like them. Think about it. There's a whole obsession with black people. Like, people are obsessed with black people, but they would not say it, they would not admit it. And apparently, this is like pretty dangerous. I don't know how black people kept on surviving, but thing is, if this keeps going on, then the fate of humanity is near an end. Yeah, ever heard of the end times, the evil yugas, the millenniums?
Is it the religious kind of end time, or are you speaking about a different kind of end time?
Like the yugas, like the end times, the world ages. We live in the evil millennium. Back then, people used to be good, and nowadays it's just about money and everything. And as long as there's greed, there's a need for power, and as long as people want power, things like this will happen. So apparently what we need is like turn the US into a democracy. Like, we shouldn't let Trump become president, because that could make things really bad. Because what happens in the US affects the world. It's kind of true, but scary. And the Democrats are trying to be moderate, but it's not helping either, because if they stoop low, we go lower. Like that's the game plan. But if someone goes the lowest, what is lower than lowest?
I guess you send them to hell.
Nah, thing is, you have to play their game. Like, understand their psyche and everything, their modus operandi, like how they operate. The more you understand how they operate, the more better you can protect yourself. I'm not saying retaliate, I'm saying defend yourself. Maybe revenge is a form of defense, but that's another story though.
Okay.
Apparently it's just, anti-blackness is a global thing, it's international. It's like, they got a slur for every black person in every language. Like, think about it. Like something is not right here. Like, it's like racism is a virus and people are infected by it. I mean, there is a cure, but it doesn't work on all people, though.
Who would you say it works on and doesn't work on?
The people that work on this cure are like people someone who I would trust to solve this problem. Someone who would cure this is like I would not put it in anybody's. I would just say if someone true enough rises up to call it out, somebody with a bigger platform, somebody with like more power, tells what's wrong and tells the truth. If someone is brave enough to do that, then they can solve that problem. I'd say some world leaders or local leaders, anybody that points out the obvious will find a solution to this.
Okay.
And I think YouTubers like you are helping with that, but there needs to be some politicians that have to be influenced by the YouTubers. I mean, the internet is a good thing, but then there's people who use the internet for mischievous purposes, such as brainwashing the people against everything. Like, the media does brainwash people against black people. Like, think about it. The alt-right media, like, think about Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, all these white guys, they spew bullshit about every community on earth. So, we need more YouTubers that speak for everybody, that speak for black people, most importantly. We need more change. And change is not possible if you have to remove the snakes from the grass. Traitors on your side, and I'll remove the anti-blacks from my side by raising awareness, by whistleblowing and exposing. Like, pretty much anybody in power is kind of like that. You know what I'm saying?
I get you.
I mean, there's no permanent solution, but what I can say is be aware. Awareness. Recognizing the problem, being aware of it, and taking initiative to solve it. I know it's easier said than done, but it has to begin.
Okay.
Apparently there's a lot of hate in this world. Well, I'm not saying combat hate with hate, I'm just saying trust less, do more. Like, don't trust everybody that says that they're now, like, heck, don't even trust me, because I could be doing this to save myself from God's wrath, who knows. It's just what it is. It's like, it's pretty traumatizing when you don't know who's your friend, who's your enemy. Apparently that's pretty hard living with that reality. You don't know who's gonna come for you, who's gonna come at you. It's like there's a target on your back if you're black. And being non-black is kind of like a privilege in most societies, which I take for granted. But I'm going to use my non-black privilege for good. That's a promise.
That's nice. One more theory.
Like, I gotta do what I can do on my end. Just, as they say, God helps those who help themselves. Yeah.
I mean, if only we had more people like you.
Well, there's a lot of people like me, but we have to cover our identities, because we could be in serious trouble with our own people.
Right.
Why you shouldn't care about interest rates or what the Fed is doing. I just bought this property subject to, which means taking over somebody else's.
Can you imagine living in a place where people defecate on the street, or where arranged marriages still exist? This is the dark side of India. India is home to one of the world's oldest and most influential civilizations. Its strategic location has always been an attractive habitat for settlers, as it's sheltered by wide expanses of ocean and protected by massive mountain ranges of the Himalayas. The first cities emerged in 3400 to 2600 BC in the Indus River system, or Indus civilization, and it became a self-contained political and cultural entity from that point on. it was speculated that the roots of Hinduism can be traced to the Indus civilization. India is also the place where other religions, Buddhism and Jainism, have originated. India has always been under incursions from other forces, such as Arab, Turkish, and Persian raiders who invaded the area and stayed to rule much of the region by the 13th century. The Portuguese navigator Vasco da Gama exposed India to the Western world when he arrived in 1498. India was then under direct administration by the British in 1851 until its Independence Day in 1947. Fueled by sectors such as information technologies, services, agriculture, and manufacturing, India is now one of the world's major economies. At the end of 2023, its GDP reached 3.73 trillion US dollars, while its GDP per capita was 2,610 US dollars. On the other hand, many traditions in India still serve as a dark side to this country. One of them is its marriage system. India is known for its arranged marriages, but there are also forced marriages. Some regions, such as Jammu and Kashmir, have many cases of forced marriages. Some families even trick their daughters into going back from overseas for these marriages. Not only that, India also has one of the highest rates of child marriage. This is surprising as it's been banned and criminalized by the government. Early marriages negatively impact Indian children's rights to education, which in turn could affect economic development. A girl who is married as a child is more likely to drop out of school and stay at home to tend to her family. Furthermore, she will also endanger her health due to complications during pregnancy and childbirth. Another interesting part of the marriage system in India is dowries. Although it's been illegal in India since 1961, many still practice it. Dowry is a payment made in cash or other goods to the bride's in-laws at the time of the marriage. Examples of dowries are TVs, beds, lavish pieces of jewelry, and others. The amount the groom's family requested will depend on several factors, such as the groom's education level, religion, region, or negotiation skills of both families. It should be noted that these traditions depend entirely on the family's background, whether they're very traditional or not so traditional. Another big issue in India is its education sector. India was once known as the country with one of the biggest populations of young engineers, but not all is as good as it once was. According to a recent employability survey, the majority of Indian engineers are unemployable as they're not trained in skills required by employers now. One of the reasons for this is their lack of proportion of engineers who took up projects beyond their curriculum and do internships. There's also a lack of faculty members who are talking about industry application concepts in class, leading to theory-based knowledge only. There are too many colleges offering engineers degrees in India, with astronomical prices, and quantity takes priority over quantity. And now, India is faced with the issue of thousands of engineers who are unable to find jobs. Aside from those issues, India also has unequal access to education, where many rural and underprivileged communities have little to no opportunities for quality education. Lastly, a major hindering aspect of India's educational sector is the lack of funding from the government. This includes funding for facilities like classrooms, libraries, faculty training, and curriculum development. India is a country that still holds its traditional values at heart, which is why public displays of affection are a big no in this country. Kissing, hugging, and even holding hands are still seen as taboo in India. Although it's very common in the West, that's not the case in this country. People on the street will shoot you dirty looks when you hug or hold hands in public. One high-profile example of this is when the Hollywood actor Richard Gere embraced and kissed Bollywood actress Shilpa Shetty during a public event in 2007. Because of their act, a warrant for Gere's arrest was issued due to complaints from the public. Some even burnt effigies of Gere and Shetty for acting in a sexually provocative way. Thankfully, Gere apologized and India's top court suspended the arrest warrant. Some speculated that this was a controversy made by a hardline political party that had an issue with Gere's stance. But the fact is, PDAs are still frowned upon in India in most cases. There are relaxations in the next generation's views on social norms, but the majority still think these acts are unacceptable. Are you a person with a weak gag reflex? Then you might want to think twice if you want to visit India. Believe it or not,
Find excellent academics and solid value at Wright State University. Join us July 19th for Raider.
then you might want to think twice if you want to visit India. Believe it or not, it's not too weird for you to get accidentally spit on when you visit India. You can find spit almost everywhere on the streets of India, as it's a common behavior. Even men who are riding cars, bikes, or rickshaws will stick their heads out and spit when they want to. What comes along with the spit is the guttural sounds that serve as a warning. When you hear this noise, you can bet that the person will be spitting in the near seconds. This habit is largely done by men in India, and it seems unlikely that it will stop. One of the reasons behind this is they want to relieve themselves easily when in public. It's also a display of masculinity in India. Some historians have also mentioned the influence of religious belief that you should discharge impurities from the body. This can cause harmful health effects, such as the spread of diseases. An example of this is the spread of tuberculosis in the Western world that made major Western cities such as New York ban spitting in the late 19th and early 20th century. India itself has made efforts to stop people from spitting, such as putting up boards for warning and volunteers who communicate the dangers of spitting for health and hygiene. That's not the only issue when it comes to hygiene in India. People are also known to defecate in public due to a lack of sanitation facilities and cultural norms. Open defecation can cause the spread of many diseases, not to mention unpleasant conditions for people to live in. The government created many incentives to be open defecation free, such as offering cash incentives, awareness campaigns, and constructing toilets. One of their campaigns is No Toilet, No Bride, meaning that brides should reject grooms who don't have a lavatory at home. Although they're slowly improving, there are still several hurdles to overcome. Several communities refuse to use the sanitation facilities built for them, as open defecation is a habit they can't leave. Some sites also created unwanted sludge that goes through in front of their house, making the surroundings impure. Many don't want to live near human waste, which is why they're reluctant to use the toilets. Hopefully the government can create a better sanitation system and raise more awareness to create an open defecation-free country. India is a place where spirituality takes priority. Many people come to the country to find inner peace and serenity. But that's exactly why some people have used this to their advantage. If you ever go to their temples or sacred places, you might be greeted with people who are eager to bless you. Steer clear of them, as they might make it seem as if it's free at first, but by the end of the prayer, you'll be asked to pay a price. Another instance is when they ask you to pray together and give a blessing to each of your family members whilst asking about your background. By the end of the prayer, you'll be asked to pay for each member of your family or your wishes won't come true. Beware of these people and just say no to prayers and blessings up front if you're not willing to pay. Aside from their traditional and religious beliefs, there's something else that Indians are obsessed with: fair skin. They're so obsessed with fair skin that it creates a discrimination against people with darker skin tones. This has spawned many different whitening creams, cleansers, gels, and treatments that promise to turn your skin lighter. Some have associated this with the fact that whiteness is linked to power and higher class, because previously those who ruled over China were Aryans or the British. Lighter skin is also associated with less exposure to the sun, meaning less brute work and a higher class. Thankfully, many are now going against the grain. A non-profit in India has started a campaign called Dark is Beautiful to fight against colorism, and public figures such as model San Rachel Gandhi are also on a mission to prove that dark-skinned people can be considered beautiful. Looking for a dairy fix in India? Then you better be careful, because milk and dairy are considered to be unsafe food items in India. Around 10% of the processed milk samples are found unsafe due to contaminants such as aflatoxin M1, antibiotics, and pesticides. Milk and dairy products are also found to be some of the most adulterated food products in Delhi. This simply means that it has been further processed to increase the quantity while decreasing the quality. According to the Delhi Food Safety, out of 2,888 samples they checked, 477 failed the quality test. Do you think your job is hard? Wait until you find out about one of the worst jobs in India. Some people die for hours in the dirty and polluted water of the river Ganges in search of gold and silver. Although it makes for a meager amount of income, many still resort to this occupation to survive. India is a complex nation, filled with amazing cultural traditions and natural beauty. Despite that, there are still plenty of socio-economic disparities, uncomfortable social norms, and unhealthy habits. By recognizing these darker facets and collective introspection, India can make way for a brighter and more inclusive future.
Hello again,
Oh,
and
shit.
welcome to the Master's Voice. I am Celestial, and you are
Sorry
welcome
about
to this
that.
channel.
Oh, come on.
To old and new subscribers alike, you are very welcome. I
Hold
have a
on.
series of prophecies that I will need to get through rather expeditiously, rather quickly from the Lord, and so for the next series of videos that I'm hoping to be able.
Oh, shit, what happens? Yeah. Woo. It's, yeah, the Indian culture. Really, interesting. I am, but, I admire for the individuals to stand up and do the right thing. But yeah, you see how America is. And we have some Indian Americans that's in politics right now. And that goes to show you people like Nick Fuentes has some kind of issue with Indians. And his bottom line is that even when some Indians think that they're part of the club because of politics, they're part of the club because of their education, they're part of the club because who they associate business with, you still get systematically conscious people like Nick Fuentes feeling some kind of way. And so that young lady on that other channel backed it up. So hats off for saying that, for telling what's the real truth. When her mother tried to tell her to be quiet, don't stir the pot, so to speak. But these young people, some of these young people ain't having it today. But yeah, that some of it, with going over to India, oh man, nah. And I'm glad I'm in the Lord, but there's gonna be some Americans that will probably go over there. But man, yeah, listen, Jesus, let someone take that shit. Ooh, you deal with that spirits and everything over there, whatever going on over there. But I'm not here to bash anybody, but yeah, it's just that's a whole way of living differently. But it goes to show you that there's some people that, even with other nationalities such as Indians and Hispanics, that if the blacks eliminated, they start down the color coded line of darkness. Ain't that something? And even though Nick is a jerk for pulling that out, but there's a lot of people probably think like Nick in America. There's some people that think like that because when they see these people that come from places or have a name like that, then they get inferiority complex. And just like Lucas said, that's very true. And they don't know how to respond, they don't know how to act because the world is changing around them, and they want the world to look like them, like they've always wanted before. But you see how the way that in the Indian culture they have to promote the skin lightening and everything. They do that in Africa too, in the Caribbean. They think that if they move to society, because maybe who they marry, maybe what kind of position they get in, that they're gonna be hired. But what some people don't understand, America is, like I said, it's a spirit of racism. So it don't matter what you are, if you're not from the Caucasus Mountains, it doesn't matter. For people, that's where Nick Fuentes get that mindset from, because it's called the white supremacy playbook, and that's why I said it don't make no sense that even if you were one of these other people that didn't like black people, they won't most of them won't greet you either. So and like the young lady said, white supremacy is a slur to black people in every culture. She's right. I've seen videos about that. She was absolutely right. Every culture have a slur towards black people. And she was spot on with that one. But you see how politics it is, and for the people that come over here from foreign countries and come first, second generation Americans, they think that they in the door. Maybe with a small segment of people that do. But when you in the land of the majority of people, like Fuentes was kind of letting that they get inferiority scared. Then they worry about their lineage being changed in heaven, and you see how all that is. But there's people like him in Europe like that. There are some people like that really have that ignorant mentality. And when I point these videos out, it's trying to show you how people really think. And even though there's some people say we shouldn't be like that, we're a country of all different people. Yeah, we're all different people. We are a country of all different diversity, they would say. Inclusion, acceptable cross orientation, disability, handicap, and religion. But deep down, in certain positions in America, people want it to remain the same. They want it to look the same. Even if it means using the white counterparts who are in LGBTQ and others to kind of shut the masses up, because they're part of the community. And if they don't part of the community, people have a thing about what they want to see. When you feel, and it's weird because there's some Americans and other people going to other parts of the world where it's mostly, or islands where there are most people of different skin tones. And it's weird how some of them will go down there to try to think that they can reserve it all for themselves. I don't get it, And I've seen some places in and outside of Europe is really nice. There are people that look like you if subconsciously they feel like that. And they try not to say that, they try not to be like that, but later on you catch somebody on the video on a secret recording and some idiot don't like this person, so they record the idiotic statements that they do. And some stuff they see, and people probably be shocked. Like, I can't believe that person's like that. Oh, this is one of the Western countries are like that. They like to they like to withhold it in some parts of this country. In some parts of this country, some people like Nick, they don't mind telling you. And really, when I think about January 6th, I was thinking, it always painted a certain demographic of people a certain way until January 6th come. And it brought out an anger in America that the vast majority of people didn't know, because the media paints it one way. And that's why all those people went to prison and jail. You have to understand, it's a spirit of racism. And when they saw Trump, they saw that maybe his talking points were similar. This is why some people do. So that was stirred up something. But I say this too. But it's on Biden they have the same kind of personality. So whether you're getting on a Democrat side or Republican side, and they trying to make a public dispute, but really before this happened, they didn't want to be around they didn't want their kids, they didn't want the people in the environment, just people in the upper boardrooms or mostly that look like them. And with particularly people who are working poor that look like them, and they with someone of a different race that has an education and have a high standard, they're not used to that. This is what we try to tell you. This is what some of us try to tell you in America. America sees race. She may not always be direct with her racism, but she'll show it in ways. Because it goes back to some video, they always think that other people are intellectually because of their skin. I know it's dumb, but it's the truth. That we're the smart ones. We're the superior ones. And so we just do what we want to do, and somebody will look like myself. I get pulled by a law enforcement, he gonna give me a pass. If I break the law, I'm gonna get slapped on the wrist. In most cases, that's it. And some people have taken advantage of that. And even the people that did all that crazy stuff on January 6th, they were surprised that people going to do longer jail time. There were people actually surprised. But it's like, and that's the first time. The only reason why is because America had to do something to punish them publicly. And even though some people got longer jail sentences than others, but people choose to, and I think that some people choose to act like that. That went down there and brought up all these different groups and so-called took a word of Trump and started attacking the government officials. But racism had to show you to a level like that. There was one part of the video where they brought a guillotine, like a hanging noose, what they used to do out west with a hanging noose. You had people wearing Confederate flags and stuff like that. You have an ugly system, and you didn't think that there's some people with that type of hatred here, but they are. They hide behind the shadows. They're taking out people, cause reckless damage, and it's like what Lucas said. He's right. Because they're scared and they're fierce of what they do. And this goes back to the history. This goes back to 5-6 centuries on this continent. So it's history repeating itself. No, that's just the past. The past repeats itself. It's a spirit over the land. Racism, along with the other spirits, are over this land, and it would never go away. You see how it jumped down from generation to generation, like I mentioned in another video? When it comes to people and people moving in, and it's not just black, but even other people. If they're not going, it's nobody that they're going to take out on another group of people. I'm trying to tell you, even though some people try to, we want to include all. Yeah, that's a small snippet of people. And even if they do something right, they'll deal with them too. But anyway, I didn't want to go on too long with the video, but yeah, but that's a really interesting look at the people who, India, and some of the people who have relatives that come out of India that came first, second generation Americans here. And now you hear from yourself whether America or in parts of continent of Africa and the Caribbean. So there you have it. But anyway, alright then, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you find this video pretty interesting, and just another day in America. It's the real side. People show their real true colors. In the last days, you're going to see more of this. Trust me, as we head towards the end. Because it was even predicted, it's in the Bible. Nation is going to be rising against nation. Nationality against nationality. All for the resources. Alright then, take care, be blessed, and see you on the next video.